Okay, apparently I was incorrect when I told you on the last presentation that we would not be calculating sums of squares by hand. I do have on one of our handouts just a brief, again, I'm not looking for anything intense here, but I do walk you through this. So I wanted to just cover this real quickly so you get a sense of what we're doing. And for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to make up a couple of quick numbers and we'll go from there. So let's say we're doing our survey of all high school students. We take a sample size of 3. So in this case, our N equals 3. Sample size is 3. And let's say that those individual observations are, let's say, X. So observation 1 or X1 equals 3, X2 equals 4, and X3 equals 5. So these are our 3 individuals that we have in our sample. Okay, obviously if these are ACT scores, they didn't do very well. But again, this is just for sample purposes to make this easy. So we have 3, 4, and 5. First thing we need to do from this is to calculate the mean. We would simply add this up, which is 12. So 12 divided by 3 equals 4, which equals our what? 4 equals our mean. Okay, so X bar equals 4. Then what we want to do, following that formula that you see up there for sums of squares, we want to take the sum of, okay, we want to take the sum, let me move out of the way here just a little bit, not too far, the sum of each X minus the X bar. Okay, so in this case, it's X1 is 3 minus X bar, which is 4, and we're going to square that. For the second observation, we're going to take 4 minus 4 squared. And for the third observation, we're going to take 5 minus 4 squared. Okay, so what is 3 minus 4? It's negative 1 squared. Negative times a negative equals a positive. So negative 1 times negative 1 equals 1. We're going to add that to the next one. 4 minus 4 is 0, so we don't have to worry about that. Then 5 minus 4 is positive 1. Positive 1 times positive 1 is 1. So 1 plus 1 equals 2. This is our sums of squares. So our sums of squares is 2. Then to calculate variance, we take our sums of squares and divide it by n minus 1. So in this case, it's 2 divided by n minus 1. What is our n? Back up here is 3. So 3 minus 1 is 2. Go back to this. 2 divided by 2 equals 1, which is our variance, or s squared. I know I'm going through this quickly. Hopefully you can watch this video a couple of times if it's not making sense. But here we have a variance of 1. Then to go from the formula for variance to standard deviation, all we're going to do is take the square root of our variance, in this case 1. The square root of 1 equals 1, which is our standard deviation. So if this were our sample, our mean would be what? 4, and our standard deviation would be 1. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. And again, we'll talk more about this as we get into face-to-face, but I do want you to be familiar with it because I do have an assignment that I want you to do, just briefly calculating these values.